Hello and welcome to Family Cooking Time with Pancakes Home and Abroad. Oh my! Today I'm going to show you how to make American and British pancakes. Your kit will include 1.5 cups of flour, 3.5 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 3/4 of a cup of flour, and 1 pinch of salt. From home, you'll need to bring 3 eggs, 2 eggs for British pancakes and 1 egg for American pancakes. About 4 tablespoons of butter, margarine is totally fine. And then 2 cups of milk, any kind of milk will do. As far as equipment goes, you'll need 1 medium-sized mixing bowl, a measuring cup. I have a multi-cup measuring cup, but a 1-cup measure would do fine as well. A whisk, or honestly, you could get away with a fork. A microwave-safe bowl. A flat-bottomed pan. And a spatula for flipping your pancakes. So to get started, no matter what kind of pancakes you're making, you want to go ahead and preheat your big pan to medium-low. You want your pan to have consistent heat, so we're going to preheat it first so it gets up to temperature and we don't have to deal with any temperature fluctuations while we're trying to figure out how to flip our pancakes. We're going to start today with our British pancakes because they're honestly a little bit easier. So we're going to start out by measuring 3/4 of a cup of milk, and then we're going to add 1/4 of a cup of water, so you have 1 cup total of liquid. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and crack our eggs right into this measuring cup. This might be a fun time to teach your child how to crack an egg, get your kids involved. Don't worry about any shells left over because they tend to sink to the bottom and then they don't get poured out when you go to mix all the ingredients together. So if there's a little bit of eggshell in there, don't worry about it. Probably won't end up in your final pancakes. There we go. Once you've got your 2 eggs in, go ahead and take your whisk or your fork and just give it a good stir. You just want a nice even consistency between the eggs and the milk. Don't want any weird egg chunks. Nice consistent batter here. Once we've got that done, we're going to take our big measuring bowl and empty into it your bag of 3/4 of a cup of flour. And all your bags will be labeled with British pancakes or American pancakes, so you'll know what's in the bag and which recipe you're using them for. And then we're going to add the 1 pinch of salt. And just give this a quick stir with the whisk. Doesn't even matter if your whisk is a little bit wet still, or the fork. Doesn't matter, just to mix the salt into the flour. And then we're going to take our wet mixture and just stirring from the center, we're going to whisk our wet mixture into our flour. And for British pancakes, you really do want to try and get a lot of the lumps out. It's okay if there's a couple lumps, but because the pancakes are so thin, it'll be a little weird if you have flour lumps, so try and get it as smooth as you can. And then I go ahead and pour it directly back into my measuring cup because that makes it a little bit easier when we're going to put them on our griddle. Alright, so before we get started with actually cooking up our pancakes, take a little bit of butter. I usually just leave it right in the stick, just unwrap it and rub the stick directly on the surface of the pan. And just spread it a little bit around, or you could just hit it with some cooking spray, that would work too. So, when we get ready to pour our batter, lift the pan up off the heat, pour your batter quickly, give it a quick spin, and then put it back down on the heat. Now we're going to not touch it, don't worry about it, leave it for 3 to 4 minutes. The top of the pancake will be, it'll start to look a little bit dry, and there'll be kind of like crinkly edges. That's how you'll know that it's time to flip your pancake. So let's go ahead and give this pancake a flip. We're starting with the British pancakes because the top gets dry, they're a little bit easier to flip over. And just cook it for another minute or so on the other side until it's nice and golden brown. Now, one of our librarians is from England, and she says that they traditionally top these with a little bit of lemon juice and some granulated sugar, and that's how they eat British pancakes. But if you want to pretend they're crepes and fill them with fruit or syrup, I won't tell her. Just don't tell her that I said that. But otherwise, you can eat them with the lemon juice and the sugar. They're pretty good like that. And let's move on to the American pancakes. We're going to start with 3 tablespoons of butter. I usually just kind of indent it with my knife on the measurement that's on the paper of the butter stick and then slice straight down. That gives me my 3 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to put it into my microwave safe bowl. Eventually, there we go. And then microwave it for about 30 seconds just so the butter is melted. Then I'm going to measure out 1 1/4 cup of milk. It might be a good time too to teach your kids about measurements. That would be a good way to get them involved here. And then go ahead and add in your 3 tablespoons of butter. It steams up my camera lens a little bit. Then finally to this mixture, we are going to add 1 egg. Again, go ahead and get your kids involved. If there's a little eggshell in your pancake, it's not the end of the world. They'll still taste like pancakes. Might be fun to teach them how to crack an egg. And then go ahead, same way we did with the British pancakes, just stir this up with your whisk or your fork until you have a nice even consistency in the mixture here. Just want to get the egg broken up and the butter mixed in with the egg, mixed in with the milk. Alright, so back to our measuring bowl. We are going to take the 1 1/2 cups of flour that come in your kit, add that to your mixing bowl, and then we are going to add the 3 1/2 teaspoons of baking powder. That's really the difference between the British and the American pancakes. 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of sugar. The baking powder added to the batter is what makes it nice and fluffy. So again, just give it a quick stir with the whisk or the fork. You just want to mix all those ingredients together. And then from the center, we're going to stir in our liquid with our whisk or our fork. And if there's a couple lumps this time, they really don't matter. Don't worry about it. You really don't want to overmix this batter. If there's some lumps, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And then again, I'm going to pour it right back into my measuring cup. You can see I didn't even wash it. It's fine if there's a little bit of extra milk. I just pour it right back into my measuring cup because it makes it a little bit easier to pour it into the griddle pan or the flat bottom pan that you're using. Alright, just about got it all there. Now, the trick to American pancakes is to pour the batter out of the mixing bowl fast. You don't want to do it slow. You want to just quickly pour in however big you want your pancakes to be. Really doesn't matter. You want to just quickly pour it in from the measuring cup. So again, we're going to take a little bit of butter on the pan. I just leave it right on the stick and just rub the stick on your pan back and forth. Still preheated at medium-low, same temperature for both pancakes. And then go ahead and pour in your batter. You want to pour fast. Alright, once you've poured, I always just wipe the edge there so that it doesn't drip on my countertop. It'll spread a little bit naturally. It should cook for 4 or 5 minutes on this side until you see it kind of rise up. The bottom will start to look dry, the bottom edge. It'll kind of get feet, and there'll be bubbles on the top of the pancake. Give it a little peek so you can see what color it is. And then carefully flip. Might be fun to get your kids involved flipping these pancakes. An ugly pancake is still going to taste like a great pancake. The key here, though, is wherever it lands, just leave it for like a minute. It needs to get a little bit of skin before you can move it to the center of the pan, which is going to have better heat distribution. Don't ever push down on your pancake like you would with a burger patty, because that's going to get rid of all the nice leavening that comes from the baking powder, but you can give it a little push down if it has a curl from landing on the edge of the pan. And let it cook another 3 to 4 minutes until it's golden brown on the other side. Keep going till you used up all your batter and you have a nice, beautiful stack of pancakes. You can serve them with maple syrup, and that's all there is to it. Please show us how your pancakes turned out on social media, and I will see you next time.